Hello, this is the 90-second test from the future, an experimental podcast from the year 2223, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. And I like it that it's 2223 for a while now. Mm-hmm. And we really smoothly transitioned into this.
Didn't accidentally say 2222 at any point.
Exactly. And although I
still think it sometimes in my head, but
I must say I actually missed that it's 2222.
It was extra cool that all the numbers were the same.
I mean, 2223 still sounds kind of cool. I think 2224 is going to be less cool even.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still...
There was the anticipation in 2221, of course. We knew it was coming.
Yeah, 2222. I mean, next time we'll have that is 33.
It's a while from now. I don't expect to still be alive then.
No. Okay. But we'll be down to episode...
I'm not going to work it out right now.
Exactly. not right now. So... and this is the 90-second episode already. This week we have a pretty interesting topic. I was thinking though, you reckon there will be first-time listeners?
It's always possible, yeah, of course.
I thought we haven't mentioned actually a bit more in-depth what our show is about. I mean...
For a long time now, yeah.
Exactly. We're regular listeners, no? Otherwise, they wouldn't be regular listeners.
Sure.
And a bunch of people that listen once, no, and that's why they only listen once.
Sure.
Maybe. Okay, so Simon and I live in the 23rd century, 2223 to be precise.
Exactly 200 years. We know from the point this episode is being sent back to. Exactly.
And then... the first 28 episodes didn't actually reach your time, as Correct. We figured out. We tried different techniques to send our podcast episodes to the past.
Yep. And it didn't work for the first 28, but the 29th episode it did work. And that's the method we've been using since.
Yeah. And as you'll hear later, we find out because we secured an email address. So if you hear this episode, we'll ask you to send us an email so we know that it arrived. We started doing that from episode 1 onwards, asking people. And then episode 29 was the first that we got a response to.
Right, but we didn't see it in time for episode 30. So episode 30, we used a different time travel method again, time sending method again. So 30 also didn't go back, but 31 onwards.
Yeah, because then we figured out, hey, somebody heard 29. That technique is working. And so we've been using that technology since then. Yeah. And then the idea is like we live exactly 200 years in your future, the listener's future. And then we thought, what could be interesting to speak about? And then we discussed a bunch of different things. But the most interesting thing is basically how our lives are, and they're very technology based. So basically speaking about the things that we think are different than 200 years ago.
Yeah, and that we would think will be interesting as well.
Yeah, and because we have a lot of technology, we speak a lot about technology. We spoke about teleporters and holodecks and...
Food conglomerators, hover cars.
Pods, robots, I guess like borderline technology.
There's been many episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Doctor sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of different topics. Today is a similar topic, transitioning into this, where the technology itself is top secret. But it does some really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's been around a long time, but the secret's been maintained the whole time. No one outside of the company, presumably, knows how it works. They've kept it very close to the chest.
So what's the company's name and what's their purpose?
Yeah, so the company's name is Re-Incorporated, or shortened, usually just said Re-Inc. And they organize your reincarnation.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually heard they're a family company.
Yeah, that's right. They never they never went public. You can't buy shares in it. It's a family owned and operated business.
I guess when we come to what they actually do, you already mentioned they organize your reincarnation, which is really kind of like a family topic.
Yeah,
of course, you're not interested in reincarnating strangers. This is a family thing, and they're a family company. Makes sense that you trust them to take care of it.
That's probably how they've been able to keep it secret so long, and that they are keeping it within their family.
Yeah,
not needing to share the secret with outsiders.
And I think also they spend a whole 20 seconds to think about their company name, Re-Inc. That's some creativity right there.
They made use of the fact that incorporated can be shortened to Inc. They made use of it well.
Totally, yeah. So how is this set up?
So it's usually when you get to a certain age, you start receiving advertisements about it, marketing material, saying, "Hey," so I'm summarizing now. "Hey, you're going to die soon. What are you going to do next?" And sure, what they offer is that you can be reincarnated, and that they will take care of it, make sure it goes smoothly. That when you are reincarnated, they locate the animal into which you have reincarnated, and then can let your family know which animal that is, that they can then take care of that animal.
I like it. I'm not in their target range yet.
Sure.
But I've seen some of the ads. I actually looked.
Yeah, they also have more broad adverts, but I've shown you some of the stuff I've received.
Yeah, exactly, and I like it where they go like, okay, they're not. You're right. They're not literally saying you're going to die soon, but what they're saying is basically you're not going to be around anymore for long. What are you going to do afterwards? As I like that. Like, this is the end. What's next? Yeah. And then this is their answer. But what the stuff I've seen, it's the same disclaimer at the end every time.
Oh, of course, yeah. Reincarnation is only possible into animals, and offers depend on availability.
Yeah, it's like every time they end that, like, assume that's a legal thing that they have to mention this.
Sure, and for people who don't know about reincarnation, that maybe they assume you can be reincarnated into another human.
I thought that actually.
No, that's not how. I mean, that's not how it works from Re-Inc, and that's not how it has worked as like an idea. The idea is you are reincarnated into an animal. You need to work your way up the levels by being the best, I guess, animal you can be. Then you get to be reincarnated into a slightly better animal. I'm not sure how they judge what's a better animal. Okay. But the point being, as a human, you made a bunch of mistakes. So no way are you going to be reincarnated into another human. First, you've got to start all the way back down at the bottom again.
I thought actually, like, you could reincarnate into a better human, but they couldn't do this.
Okay.
So that's why they have to disclaim.
Maybe I'm buying their marketing material. Like what I know of reincarnation is basically through their marketing material. So I've accepted it as truth. I didn't realize that.
Maybe that's also how they're bringing it. Like, that's totally normal, you know. Like it's, but like.
Well, sure, because if you could be reincarnated into another human, then you could speak to that human. Hey, you,
exactly.
Whoever. With the animals, okay, they're not. You cannot be reincarnated into a sentient animal, only into what we consider sentient, So basically you can't be reincarnated into an animal that can also talk.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's also the two big things, like it's only possible with animals, like not sentient animals, and then offers depend on availability, so you can't actually choose the animal.
Right.
So that's how I understood it, right?
Yeah, and also they additionally point out that the animal you're reincarnated into will have no recollection of your life, like of the event.
Ah, right?
Yeah, so even if you were reincarnated into an animal that could talk, that animal wouldn't have, it would be your spirit, but it would not have your memories.
So it's kind of like a bit of a contract on fate.
A little bit.
Okay. And but I understood that the idea is that when you make a contract with them, it becomes automatically part of your will, right? Like they take care of the legal stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's not uncommon, right? Like it's not like, because it's not super expensive. Right. And of course, what are you else you're gonna do with your money after you're dead, So like, why not spend it on yourself?
It seems like you've got nothing to lose.
And then you could say like, hey, I'm gonna go all out in my last week, or I'm gonna save up some stuff for afterwards.
In terms of things you want to do, you mean?
Yeah, basically. I mean, although
maybe not your last week, but yeah, for your life.
Exactly. And hey, why not save up some money for after I'm dead? You know.
I see what you mean. Put it aside for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So how does it actually work? So
when you die, you're reincarnated into an animal, and Re-Inc takes care, like I said, of identifying that animal, and then giving it to your descendants
or
children, grandchildren, whoever's around who cares about you, that they can look after it.
Okay, so you're basically you get like a cockatoo or a mule or whatever, and it's like, hey, this is your beloved departed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And depending on the animal, so animals have different life spans, like all things being equal. So depending on what type of animal you're reincarnated into, maybe it lives 5 years, maybe it lives 15. You know, if it's a tortoise, it lives a really much longer time. But the standard package, at least from Re-Inc, is that it includes at least 3 animals, or it will cover 50 years.
Okay.
Of that reincarnations, yeah.
Like depends on the package you have.
Yeah.
Could be
because I'm mentioning animals a lot because basically it's okay. The first few reincarnations will be that. It's really unlikely that you'll become a human within that time. But the plan covers the first 50 years.
Okay, so basically you could be like a grasshopper and a butterfly and then a parrot or something like that.
Sure, and the parrot would live much longer. So, and then that's where it can overshoot. So, okay, the parrot will live, I don't know, how long do they live? Like 70, 80 years. Okay, it would no longer be covered by the plan, but it's not like the animal.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't then go take it out or something.
But then if the parrot dies, that's it.
Yeah, right. Well, no, not in terms of reincarnation, but just in terms of Re-Inc organizing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So that means that if you have the 3 animal plan, you could be like I said, like a cockroach and a fruit fly and some older short-lived animal, and then maybe after 2 years that's it. But if you got the plan that covers at least 50 years, maybe in this period you're like 23 different animals, or just one that gets really old.
Yeah.
Okay. Or combination of these. Okay.
I mean, this is a bit of a weird thing that you might think, but doesn't make sense to do. Some people try and when there's an extended warranty on like a tech product, they'll think, hey, if it breaks like the week before that expires, then I can get effectively a new one, or at least, it'll be checked over. That's not a risk anyone would take with reincarnation, because you don't know. I mean, you can have observed the animal that you've been looking after. Do you think it's been being a really good animal or not? But you can't guarantee it. And then maybe, your tortoise is reincarnated as a grasshopper, and that's not the way to go.
Can you get like eternal subscription, where your descendants pay like a yearly fee and they guarantee that you reincarnate forever?
It seems like that would make sense. But they don't offer it. No.
Okay. Like at one point, that's kind of it, because it also secures like a growing income, like they get more and more, because it's a permanent thing that a lot of people would have set up. Or you maybe get like a contract that you can yearly renew. At one point, you'll have one lonely descendant taking care of a whole menagerie of.
I think maybe that's part of the reason that it's limited to 50 years.
Okay.
That the responsibility doesn't grow so massive.
No, I can imagine. And then you're I can imagine if you have your whole menagerie of family members, at one point you have to decide, any of you older than 100 years, that's it, That sounds like
you should have been faster at getting reincarnated into a human.
Yeah, or something.
This is a little bit of bias. It's in their marketing material, Re-Inc, that the to be human again is the goal.
Okay.
I mean, that's how they sell it. Yeah, like that's how they market it. And sure, other people have different opinions that maybe humanity isn't the ultimate goal, that there is some other better thing to be. Okay, but that's up to you, basically.
Okay,
I mean, say the ultimate thing is to be a dog. Okay, but it's still nice to be a dog that's taken care of by people who knew you, maybe.
I'm wondering, it would be interesting to get like a robot's perspective on this, because essentially they kind of have the eternal life because they can change their outside, basically.
Right, their form.
I wonder how they think about this. Sounds probably pretty complicated.
Be a question to ask.
Yeah. Okay, we can. But like we mentioned, the technology is top secret, right? We don't know how do they guarantee this is the descendant, this how animal.
Do they identify? And I mean, they have tests. You see them waving their wands around sometime. Yeah. Like scanning devices. That's, I guess, what they use. So
you have any examples in your larger family?
Yeah. So my great-grandmother, actually, she was one of their first, well, maybe not their first customer, but she was a customer of them, in their first couple of years. Okay. Because that was a long time ago. She died back when I was only 7 years old. Ooh. Which back then made sense. She was...
they've been around so long.
90 or so. They've been around a long time. Like we were saying, it's a family business. They've been around a long time. Right, and so initially she was reincarnated. She was a small blue budgie. Okay. A little bird, And then when the budgie died, then she came back as a white fluffy cat, very sweet one. And then after that, a tortoise.
Oh, they can get.
And that worked out. Exactly, that tortoise is still around. Still around.
So
getting on in years, but
okay. So your great-grandmother, like okay,
that worked out well, yeah. Because like I say, it was also back then. It was the 50-year thing. So okay, when that tortoise is done, we won't be able to keep track of her anymore. But at least that tortoise still kicking.
Well, let me calculate. So that, like with your age, that tortoise is really old. But they get really old.
They get really old.
Huh.
It's also got a cyborg chip, of course. Like we also get older for that reason. Tortoise too.
Cool. Do you notice anything about the tortoise that because that's typically my grandmother?
It was a while, so I don't have such strong memories of my grandmother anymore. But as far as I can tell, like also from my family, it's a tortoise. There's nothing about the tortoise that does.
It's not like your grandma loved lemon.
Right.
And then the tortoise likes lemon too. No. Actually,
so that's an expectation people have. That the animal somehow exhibit traits of their loved one, and it can happen. But I think that's more through coincidence. But I don't know yet. Like in my experience,
I can also imagine that if it's there. It might be a coincidence, but then the family goes like, you see, that's what,
they were always like a monkey, and now they're a monkey. Monkey's pretty close to human though, so that's very likely. I shouldn't have used that example. But yeah.
Yeah. Also, my...
yourself?
Yeah, it's actually my my grandmother is currently taking care of Aunt Maud. And she's currently a big angry badger.
So not just a big badger, but really an angry one?
Yeah, exactly. It's I think you could call it ferocious, maybe that's the word.
Okay, yeah.
It's
vicious, yeah.
Yeah. It's like you shouldn't get too close to it. Sure. So it's actually in a bit of a cage.
Yeah, okay. And we were just talking then. Is that how your aunt was?
No.
Okay.
Or apparently not.
Okay, yeah.
It was like it's a bit of a far... family member.
So was this a sister of your mum or dad, or was it like a much
no
older?
great aunt?
Okay,
exactly. So it's as far as she was the let's say the sister of my grandmother's grandmother or something like that.
Right, of your grandmother. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so same generation, or not? So not the same age, so not as long as mine, but relative to you, the same relation in terms of generations as my grandmother.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So. It gets a little bit complicated, but I know that my grandmother, she still has 17 years to go. Okay. Not liking the big angry badger a whole lot. Not sure.
17 years to go until that 50 years.
Yeah, exactly. So there's like 33 years in the plan. So my great aunt Maud died 33 years ago.
Right. And so, but then your great aunt Maud, was she always a badger, or was she something else before that?
No, there was something in between, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Because it's I know it from visiting my grandmother. Right. So it's so far removed from me. I didn't know the original people. Sure. Because until a few years ago, my grandmother also had a duck that was some sort of family member from long ago.
But you don't know who?
No, that's also not around anymore.
I see.
That 50 years expired already.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know what happened to the duck. But like I remember when I was much younger, there was the duck and
a badger.
Yeah, and the badger. Yeah, the badger has been around for a while. Yeah. So that's about it. So not closer. That's the closest experience I have.
Yeah.
So, do you have it set up for yourself?
I do, of course. Like in my computer stuff, I maintain multiple backups. So for myself too, I'm definitely I'm signed up for this to cover my bases when I die, if this is a real thing. Because skepticism, yeah? Is this even a real thing? If it is, I want to have it taken care of.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I haven't made up my mind yet.
I know.
I mean, it's with the kind of thing that like the moment you sign up for one particular version of the program that they offer.
Sure.
And of
They're
course,
pretty inflexible, that's true.
And every couple of years they have upgrades, and when you get a plan, you can then pay additional for the upgrade. But I'm just basically waiting to see if there's anything cool additionally coming up. Maybe at one point they do actually cover humans. I don't know. Maybe they have the unlimited plan. So and also I'm not in a rush.
Sure. No.
Sort of. So you have any specifics set up? Like any special clauses or?
I mean, you have the option to say what kind. It's the thing where they don't guarantee that you won't be reincarnated into a certain animal, but you can at least say your preferences.
Okay.
So my preferences are to be reincarnated into something warm and fluffy.
Okay.
Warm and fluffy.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah. I was thinking
they can't guarantee it.
I was thinking if I would do it, I would have something that flies. That sounds pretty cool, actually, to be able to fly.
It does. I didn't consider that. And right, it is a bit of an oddly run business. Like, we were saying 50 years is the max. You can't have your descendants, continue to pay it indefinitely. And like in this case, you can't change your plan. I mean, they could have some nice upselling going on there.
Exactly.
But for whatever reason, they're really strict. They do not do those kinds of standard business practices.
Yeah.
Right, and you're still considering it, so you obviously haven't. You said maybe you would want to fly, but that's only if you actually choose to go through with it.
And I mean, as far as their marketing material is concerned, they get 0 customer complaints.
It's true.
They haven't had a single customer complaining so far. They said, and
100% customer
exactly
positive customer satisfaction.
Yeah. So and they've been around for a very long time, and not a single complaint from any customer so far. That's pretty good.
It's very legit sounding.
Okay. I think that covers re-ink.
I do too.
And we didn't even get paid to mention their name a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, we don't have a sponsorship on this show. So.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm also thinking of this now. Maybe we could have mentioned it to them, saying, hey, we're going to kind of speak about your company.
I mean, we can get in touch with them.
Oh, yeah, retroactively.
See what they think.
Exactly. Or maybe that's why they're so big, because we mentioned them on the show. People 200 years ago heard about it.
We should tell them that is what has happened.
We kind of, okay. We kind of defined our own topic. Okay, but we got one pretty cool email.
Yep, just the one, but as you say, really cool. It's a pretty long one. Shall I read it out?
Yeah.
Yep. So, hello. This is my first email from the past. My name is Lydia, and I really enjoy your podcast. I love listening to it on my morning run along the Main in Frankfurt. And that's right, I live in the same city as you. And I thought of a really cool present for you guys, a time capsule. I buried a metal box in the forest south of Frankfurt on the coordinates mentioned below. She writes they're mentioned below, but I won't read them out. In it are a bunch of things from the 21st century. I'm not saying which things, though. That's for you to find out. I'd love to hear if you manage to dig it up. Love, Lydia.
That's really cool.
That is super cool, and we have a guarantee. Well, so we're going to go looking for it, and assuming we find it, we have a guaranteed topic for next week.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we'll try to find it. Either it will be we couldn't find it, or we found it and that was it, and then, or something like that.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing what's in there, of course.
Definitely. That's thank you, Lydia. It's a really good idea. Also, thank you for emailing us, and thank you for going through all this effort.
Oh, indeed, yes.
It's a whole lot of effort. So I'm assuming she must
like our show, yeah?
Yeah.
Unless it was a time capsule and she sent this email to a lot of people. Yeah. I'm kidding. That's a bit silly.
We'll find, maybe there's a whole bunch of.
If there's like a personalized note to us. Yeah, right. Or we dig it up and we find a whole batch of them.
And then it sounds, this is for these guys. This is for these guys.
Or it's one time capsule and it just has a note saying to future people. And it's not like addressed to Simon and Dirk, We'll see.
We'll see. Okay. Should we mention?
Right, yeah. So Lydia wrote to us. She sent an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com. And you folk listening to us now can do that too. Send an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com. Put the number 92 in the subject line so that we know this episode went back successfully. And any questions or comments or things you want to tell us about, put those in the body of that email.
Exactly. Okay. Then that was it for this week. Thanks for listening and see you in 2 minutes. Bye-bye.